Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Beyond Duality podcast. Today's subject is about how your daily habits, how they change your life basically in a whole new level, because what you do on a day-to-day basis is exactly going to dictate the success that you have basically. So by the end of today's episode, you will actually have the perfect recipe to understand what you need to do to reach your goal on a day-to-day basis. Like how important it is to be organized with your daily habits. You need to plan your way to success, and you will finally have the odds in your favor to take your life in charge and to understand where you want to go and how to get there, because that's super important. It's another aspect of our daily lives. Basically, you need to change your daily habits. And why I said the word organize is perfect, because you need to plan your way to success. You cannot expect the success to come by itself in your life. You need to be super organized and to plan it in advance.
Definitely. Yeah.
So that's why you need to have the self-confidence in yourself to tell yourself, I'm gonna do those actions, I'm gonna do those steps. So the fact of the self-confidence comes in because you tell yourself you're gonna do something and you're actually gonna do it. Because a lot of the time, people say they're gonna do stuff, but they just don't. So that's a bad habit, first of all, that you can have in your life, to not, when you say something, you need to act upon it no matter what. Because when you start lying to yourself, like I just said, it
becomes a matter of
it becomes an habit.
yeah, exactly.
Your word isn't important.
Exactly.
So you need to put a lot of emphasis on what you say, and to be careful with what you say, because if you know you're not going to achieve, not that you know you're not going to achieve something, but you know it's unrealistic, then you're just self-sabotaging you.
Yeah.
And you need to be, like I said, you need to plan your way to success. You need to take a look at, that's why the episode Dream versus Goal was super important. Because instead of looking at your dreams, like we said, you need to take some smaller goals and to have your small wins on a day-to-day habit. Maybe you can talk about it, because with your business, you like I know you're super organized. You have your journal and you plan your way ahead.
Well, I had 2 clients this week because I'm starting, right?
Yeah, congrats.
And thank you.
It's a big step.
It. Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's the first 2 clients that we had that bring us a certain amount of money also. So it's super, I'm grateful about it.
Yeah, well,
because I know all the efforts that I put in the past months for the company are finally going back my way. And I mean, it's important to understand that the amount of effort and action that you take will not be like instant.
Yeah, and
they take times.
That's what I just want to add something right now. It's the delayed gratification aspect of it.
That's super important.
Yeah, because you were taking those actions. It's been like weeks, months, even years of thinking about it. But the fact that now you see the reward from what you do on a day-to-day basis must be super motivating for you.
Absolutely, yeah. And it kind of helped with the whole motivational spiral.
Yeah.
Going up spiral, right? I mean, you already have made such a difference in your life because you do not procrastinate on so much now that you're actually taking actions towards the goals that you set up for the day, the weeks, the months, and the years, right? And that's what I love about being organized. I know what I have to do for this specific day. Yeah. And I just get shit done. I clear them, and if I'm not clearing them all, well, I'll just push another one to the day after that. But I have to get them done before the end of the week, and that's fine. But at least everything is organized, and I'm not searching for what I need to do to create the end goal, right? The dream of having whatever it is, your dreams that you want, right, in your life. And that's what I love about habits.
Yeah, and that's an important aspect as well, because you're going to do stuff that might not work at 1st. But the most important is to correct your path.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you get rid of those habits that don't work, and it's a learning curve. It's a learning progress. You
Definitely.
only get better, and you're gonna figure out what works. So now that you have some results, well, you know that you have kind of a step-by-step process, and you're like, okay, if I do this, it's gonna work, and then you can optimize it.
Yeah, and it's funny that you said optimize, because that's kind of where I was going to. That's the thing. Even if right now what I'm doing is working currently,
Yeah.
it's working currently for the amount of, well, I'm self-employed and I work only with myself as of right now.
Yeah.
But I deeply want to have other people in my team someday, right? At some point, to grow the business and grow the company with other people also, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. When I will add other people around me, those habits and what I'm doing currently that works for myself will not work in the future.
No.
And so the habits will change with time also. And that's another
Absolutely.
thing. You need to understand that a vision, yes, it's important, but the goals will become bigger with time and change. And that's fine. You just need to work on them, right?
Yeah, and it's the principle as well of growth.
Yeah.
Because if now, by the actions we're taking on a day-to-day basis, we're growing, then it's just a matter of time before we get better. And when we get better, it's a different, it will take different actions to grow. It's just, you need to be realistic, with where you are currently, and just understand that it's not gonna work all the time.
Yeah.
For example, like me and my trading, I'm developing my hedge against the market in a way. Okay?
Yeah.
And I know that if I do that, then I will win over the market, against the big market players. Then after that, when you know you have that hedge against them, then you can optimize it. So what you do on a day-to-day basis, you're not going to focus on the same things, because you know what you worked on is working. So now you actually need to go and refine it to get even better and to understand on another level.
100%.
So what you do on a day-to-day basis will change eventually. So that's why you can plan, like we said, on a yearly goal, 6-month goal, 1-month goal, and you follow that path ahead, and it's going to propel you towards your dreams.
And
or
also,
goals.
there's, in our society, especially with the phone, there's so much trends going on also.
Absolutely,
Even with trading, I'm sure.
Yeah,
and that's something that is strange now with our society, right? Because of this specific thing, you need to have your daily habits, especially with that, because things change so quickly now.
Yep.
And it can be in any circumstances. It can be with my business in photography, or with something completely different with your trading, let's say, perhaps. Or if you're someone that is making, let's say, a clipper or something on YouTube or whatever, there's always going to be trends, and you need to have your daily habits and follow, or not follow. You could create the trends for yourself.
Yeah.
Or actually follow them and seek the most amount of what is the best, like
Growth or...
kind of growth process for that day or
Yeah.
week or month or whatever,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's special. And also with the delayed gratification that you said, I think it's a big problem with our society right now. Because we like short, short-term
gratification
or dopamine.
cheap
Exactly.
dopamine, basically. That's a big aspect that...
Yeah.
Because dopamine basically is what... I said about the stress and anxiety, that's what permitted us to survive in a way. We were having that fight or flight instinct, so we could eat and hunt and everything, all that stuff, so we could survive. But now that we are living in a comfortable life, you have your job, you're getting your bills paid, you have your car, you don't have to, you can just go to the grocery store. And it's the fact that now we are so comfortable and we chase instantly comfort. Like we never, it's a lot, like we always say, it's a lot easier to watch Netflix than to read a book.
Definitely,
like to read a book, you're gonna have to think about it and to be like, okay, I need to to work.
Well, you need to concentrate.
Yeah, you need to focus, exactly. But the fact that you watch a Netflix series, you don't have to focus. You just,
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
fun. You know, it's cheap dopamine. It's right now, instantly. I feel good. And you're going to crave a lot more. But it's the fact that you need to understand the bigger picture. If you want to achieve big things, you need to understand the bigger picture and to understand that your delayed gratification actions are worth a lot more
Yeah.
than the cheap dopamines one. And another point that I want to add on with this, it's to get your environment planned for success. Because in a way you can, even if you have big goals, even for us, you can actually self-sabotage just by maybe like having your phone near when you work and just having those notifications pop up. If you have a TV with Netflix on, you need to get your environment proper for work.
Clear, yeah, definitely.
Because it's super easy to go back into that old pattern. You know, if you have, for example, an Xbox or a PlayStation, well, it's a lot easier to just press the button and start playing and just don't do anything. So you need to keep in mind that your environment is super, super, super important because you're less likely, for example, you're less likely to not drink beer if you don't have beer at all, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
And if it doesn't become part of a habit, for example.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just not in your circle, right?
Exactly.
So if it's not in your circle or in your surrounding at all, you wouldn't even just think about it.
No, exactly.
And that's the greatest part. I mean, it's the same with people, right?
Yeah.
That's why we've talked about in the a couple of episodes, I guess, about...
I don't know if it was successful perspective or something.
Maybe, I can't remember. I mean, I think we bring it up in a lot of podcasts,
pretty much
actually.
often because
it's important.
I mean, it's one of the most important things.
Exactly, yeah. And so it's the same with our phone or with people also, like we always say. I mean, the people that are actually surrounding us.
The sum of the 5% you spend the most time with. I don't know that quote. I fuck it up every time, but it's just logic. It's the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. You're gonna be the average of that, basically. Now I got it right, but yeah, but that's a big factor that I wanted to add on this podcast is if all you have around you is people that are procrastinating and just, you know, well, that's the average that you have, and you look at that and you're like, oh, well, I mean, it's all right if I
mean, I kind of understand in some point of view, because if everybody in your circle is actually procrastinating, right?
Yeah.
Then it creates the alibi for yourself to actually procrastinate yourself, right?
Yeah, because all you see is that, so it's super, you're like,
so it's fine.
If he does it, then I might
I'll
as well
do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
You feel better about yourself.
Exactly. And I think on a bigger perspective point of view, well, if everybody is actually seeking comfort, well, everybody else will be
comfortable because they will seek that. But if you have, like, for example, you don't, just the fact that we have ourselves in our life, you know, we're basically, like, for this example, we're 2. Just the fact that I know you're working and you're grinding on your business and you know I'm working on my trading and, you know, meditating, thinking about my stuff and everything, then you know he's working. So you feel bad about yourself. You feel like
you're not doing
you feel like shit. You're like, man, why am I not working right now? And it's the fact that the standards are higher. And when we speak with each other, we kind of motivate ourselves because we come up with new knowledge. We come up with new, I had clients, or I took a good trade. I understand that macro perspective of the economy and everything, and I talk to you about it.
Yeah.
And you know I'm working, and you know when we go to the gym as well, we are always at the gym, and we see each other at the gym, and you know when you're not doing something right. You know deep down because you know the other person is working hard. Yeah. So imagine if you have a big circle like 5 killers that are working their asses off every day, then the average is so much higher. You can't procrastinate. You don't have the time because
you can't.
You won't be able to have normal conversations with your friends anymore, basically, because they're not on the same path as you.
Not only that, I think if those people are super high skilled people,
Yeah.
they will kick your ass off for actually taking time off
Yeah, absolutely.
about your work.
Oh, you will get.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it's the good thing. It's what I want you to
Yeah,
do
exactly.
if I'm actually slacking off on my business, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I would want that reality check of what the fuck are you doing right now?
Yeah.
You need to go back in the game, bring back the momentum, and just grind.
Yeah,
And
we
you
keep
will
it-
be right.
yeah.
If I ever do that, and I won't. Well, I would be lying to myself.
Yeah, and I'd rather have honest friends that
Yeah.
would tell me that I'm fucking up, because when you think about it, but that's just our perspective personally.
Definitely,
But
yeah.
if I care so fucking much about you, you know, you're my friend, and I love you with all my heart, you know, and I want you to succeed, then why the fuck would I not tell you if you're like, you know, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying
Exactly.
I know your potential and I want you to achieve it. I know what you want deep down in your heart.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep you accountable for it.
Exactly,
Even
yeah.
if it's not nice conversation to have, like, oh man, you're fucking up. Like,
But
come on, get back in the game.
In a certain type of way, it's the nicest conversation that you could have, actually.
Yeah, because you care
It's the
about the
truth.
person.
Yeah, exactly. It shows you that,
It's honesty.
yeah, it shows you that actually care for you, and those things are important.
Yeah, and it's the same example that if you hang around like 5 people that are the best bakers in the town, like they are the best, they know everything about bread, and you're not a baker at all, you don't know anything, you will be just by hanging out with them, you will be better than 99% of people at baking bread, because that's all they talk about. That's all they do on a day-to-day basis. So you will learn, even if you're not interested. So the energy is super contagious, and the aura as well. You feel it. You feel like the grind and the knowledge, because that's all we talk about right now, the new knowledge that we have. So if you get better, I get better, and if I get better, you get better. So
Exactly.
it compounds. It's the compounding effect.
Definitely. And we've spoke about this week also, like you said, aura, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a weird thing, because we are both currently really working towards ourself, right?
Yeah.
And
Self-development.
yeah, exactly.
Becoming
Yeah. I mean, we've seen things change in our surrounding, right?
Yeah.
Even though we are not speaking to certain people, there's gonna be people that will want to grow because they see you grow so much.
Yeah.
And I think, to me, it's amazing to see people surrounding myself, because if I can give an example, my girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
She was stressed, and she was in an anxiety state of mind, right? Where she didn't want to choose a specific, well, not choose, she didn't want to, she was stressed about starting a business towards coaching, etc., right? And because she was in my surrounding, and because I was working on mine, she definitely just started and took like the courage that she didn't have in the past to start working on herself instead of just staying in that comfort zone. And she grew so much from that specific thing.
Absolutely.
And I think that's an amazing standpoint of view, because she's super close to me, and I've seen her for my own eyes.
You
right?
see her growth, basically.
Exactly.
Because, and it's the curious nature of the humans, basically.
Yeah.
You want to know, oh, what's he doing, you know? And the fact that she's with you, you know, for a super long time, and she saw the growth that you had.
Yeah.
And now, specifically, the growth is exponential. Every day we try to get better, we do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, just for example, the energy is super contagious. Like, for example, you put one person in a room of 100 people that are happy, he's gonna automatically feel happy. It's the same for the inverse. You put one people in a room of 100 people that are sad, he's gonna feel sad.
Definitely,
So the energy that you have, because, like we said before, the fact that you're growing and getting better, it boosts your self-confidence.
Yeah.
You know you're getting better, you're getting more knowledge, your conversations are better, it's more, I I don't know, it's less cheap dopamine oriented, and you feel good about yourself.
It's also why we always said in the last podcast that we do not want energy vampires in our surroundings,
No,
right?
no, we don't. What I realized is, I know we're going to do a podcast one day about happiness. That's a big subject, but instead of chasing happiness, because happiness leads to dopamine in our society in general,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think in terms of proud.
Yeah.
What can I achieve today that is going to make myself proud? And that is leading in a way to happiness, because I'm feeling proud of myself and I'm feeling good and I have a good energy. Because it's not every day that I wake up and I'm feeling super energetic and I'm super motivated about doing my stuff. I know I have to do them, so I will do them. That's not the point, but the point is, it's not every day that you wake up and you feel like, oh yeah, I'm so hyped to do this, I'm so hyped to go reading, I'm so hyped to watch the news, to watch my graphs. And
I mean, that would be motivation, right?
yeah, and motivation comes in bursts.
Exactly.
But the fact is, think in terms of proud. What can I achieve today? That's why you need to be organized. The fact that we do our daily habits, we are proud of ourselves.
Yeah, and I mean, if I bring back instead of seeing as tasks, see them as wins, it's the same principle,
Yeah,
right?
you act like I'm going to give the example. I don't know if you have something to keep on.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. The book that I'm reading currently, he was talking about lobsters. I know it's a funny example, but it's true. It's in our nature. Like the lobsters, when they fight each other, they have steps. Like first, I'm not going to explain it all, but the fact is, the lobster that wins a fight, all the other lobsters around him, they feel it.
Yeah.
Like the other lobsters that just lost, they're not even gonna look at the winner, and the winner is gonna, like he said, the chapter is about stand with your shoulders back.
Yeah.
But they're gonna feel it. They know, and he bust out his chest like it's the.
Well, he has aura, right?
Yeah, the aura that we are talking about.
Know that he's like an high individual person.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't want to fuck with this guy, basically.
Yeah, and his energy, like they all feel it.
Yeah.
So that's a good example. I didn't know that before I read the book, but it's this principle in this chapter. He talks about your energy. Everyone will feel it. Like, so that's why the small wins and the daily habits are super crucial.
Yeah. Well, small wins make you proud at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what that's why I decided to change my perspective in what I do on a day-to-day basis. Because I don't want to dive too deep into it, but the happiness, the myth that you need to be happy every day, I think is false.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's false too.
Yeah, because
for us, the happiness comes with what you just said.
Exactly.
With promise.
Yeah.
And I mean, we kind of see it that way, especially now that we are taking actions.
Yeah, and that's why I know we say it often right now, but lead by example. The fact that I know that my small circle, I care so much about them. I put on my shoulders the fact that I want to lead by example. I want to inspire them.
Yeah.
Because I know there's some people that want to achieve big things. They have goals, and it's might not be related to business goals or anything, but just goals on their daily lives that are super important to them. But the fact that they see me, they see me having my daily habits, my progression, they see just by talking with me, the way I'm speaking is different, and how I think is different. Now they're like, well, he's changed so much over the course of a month, for example. Just all those small wins stack up, and they want to get better from that. They're like, okay, I can't have those old conversations with him anymore because he's not interested in that. And it's normal that your interests are gonna change.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what is strange with the way that we are currently growing.
Yeah.
The people around us, they do not find alibi with speaking with us.
No.
And that brings emotion to people that are not seeking growth.
Yeah.
And at a certain point of view, people are getting mad in some type of way.
Yeah.
Because they do not, well, especially with alibis, that's my point. because we are not procrastinating on things that we want to achieve, right?
Yeah.
Well, people around us that like to procrastinate because it's easier for their life. Well, with us, when they speak with us and they see that we are actually taking actions every day, they do not see the same thing that they are currently doing, and so they feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant by alibi, right?
Yeah.
And
And it's the fact that that's why your circle in a way gets smaller.
it's smaller and
Because,
changed a lot.
yeah, you don't have the same interest as before, so naturally the life path is gonna the life that you chose to go towards, then people are gonna feel uncomfortable around you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because just by the way you're thinking and the way you're responding, because now we like to push our reflection, and we like that's something I like to do with my brother, for example. I like to make him think, but making people think, it makes them uncomfortable sometimes, because they have to work. They're speaking with you and they have to work inside. It's not fun. It's not cheap dopamine. It's not nice. But the fact is, I really enjoy to see the growth with the people around me. So that's why I'm trying to always make them better by my energy, how I speak, how I feel. If they have problems, they can come to me anytime, and I'm gonna try to help them in the best way possible.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And I just want to see them grow. That's a big thing in my life. Like I just gave my example from my brother, for example. I care so much about him, and I know he can achieve big things, but he himself might not know what I can see in him. And it's the fact I'm trying to make him blossom like a flower, for example.
I mean, a big part of why you could see things that he can't see now is because you went through it, right?
Yeah. And it's like we were talking this week. Sometimes the answer is just
in front of our
eyes.
eyes.
It's just in front of your eyes. But your mind or your perspective or your knowledge is not big enough to actually understand that information.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how, like I was talking to you about it, like when I walk sometimes I walk for about 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes an hour, it depends. But sometimes I get my answer in 5 minutes instantly. I just go outside and okay, I just
click.
It just clicks. But sometimes it just depends on your level of growth, and you're gonna have the answers come to you in the perfect timing. For example,
I mean, this week it's exactly what happened with us, right?
Yeah.
We spoke through the phone.
Yeah.
And we've spoke about a thing that happens in our week, and in what, maybe an hour or something, we've basically understand something that we couldn't before.
Yeah.
Just by speaking to each other, right?
Exactly.
Like, and it just clicked in an instant, and we both realized at the same time, holy fuck, that specific thing, we never saw it comes to life, but it was in front of ourselves the whole time.
Yeah. And that's just, it's your, in a way, your wisdom, your maturity, everything that comes together, and your vision, your perspective gets wider.
Yeah.
You are actually good enough to understand that information. So it's not gonna come easy. The daily habits that you set in your life are the most important, and you need to create a system to follow. Because if you don't have a system, and like I said, your word needs to be like iron will. What I say I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like the system, that's super important. That's a big factor that I can tell.
I mean, for myself, for the system part, I wrote down exactly what I need to do every day in my journal, right? And I wrote down exactly what I need to do for the week and for the month and for the year every fucking day, even though the thing for the year might be the same for the rest of the year. It's just important. It's a way for yourself to program your brain to work towards what you actually want to achieve.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody should do it. Even if you have a 9-to-5, a business, or you're just starting to work towards maybe gym or anything that is out of your comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, journaling it might seem silly, but it's super important because it keeps you accountable to what you want to achieve. And also, paper never lie.
No.
It's wrote down. You can't lie to yourself.
Nope.
It's there. You see it. You need to do it. And after that, you can even take the pen and whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know how to say
Like
it in
just-
English. Scrape it or
Yeah,
whatever with the
yeah.
pen, and you see it like in a way that it's done.
Yeah.
And that specific thing comes back with the win, right? It makes you feel proud, and also it's kind of a history book
Yeah,
of
you-
everything that you've
over
achieved in the
years,
past.
yeah, it's
And that's an
proudness.
amazing
It
thing.
makes you proud.
Yeah.
But another aspect that I had that realization when I was walking. It's a bit not sad, but yeah, it is kind of. I realized that I was still, when you're a child, you don't have any worries. Like your parents pay everything, you live with your parents, and you're just having fun, right? I realized that I'm now an adult, and all the cards are in my hand. Like no one is coming to save me. So what I do on a day-to-day basis is up to me. And if I really want to achieve them, then it's up to me to do it. Like I was still, before, like I said in the podcast, I was not mature enough to do the things that I'm doing now. And I was saying to everyone, I was talking the most, but when you talk often, you're not doing shit, basically. Like, I was telling everyone, no, I'm working so hard, but basically I was getting the dopamine from it without doing any efforts. But I realized, and I was like, fuck, man, like, no one's coming to save me. I need to take those actions because I want to achieve it. And I need to stop trying to live like a child and to start in that adult life. I need to plan my way to success because it's not going to come by accident. Like you never hear someone says like, oh, how are you benching, for example, 3 plates? And he's like, oops, I don't know,
Yeah.
He put the efforts in and he went out of his comfort zone. He was pushing his body to his limits and he had a program, he had something to follow. And eventually he got there and now he looks like a genius,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're so strong. Yeah, well, you don't see all the efforts back there that I had to do.
And programming is the program that you just said we're working on, right?
Yeah.
It's a perfect example of journaling for growth towards the dreams and goals.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. The only difference is that one is, well, I mean, even getting the perfect physique could be a dream for certain people.
Exactly.
For me, it is one of my dreams, right?
Yeah.
So I'm currently working on it.
Yeah.
And that's why I have actually, what I wrote down in my journal about this. But yeah, I mean, it's a perfect example what you just said. It's the same thing, but a different principle.
Yeah, it's different ventures of
Yeah,
life.
yeah, exactly.
Like for that's why I gave the example. Someone might not have the dreams of a business side, but he might have the dreams of accomplishing a certain weight or certain physique looking like or goals. So it depends on the venture that you're passionate about. But that's my point. Like nothing comes by accident, and you have to act upon it on a day-to-day basis. You are in charge of the train, basically. You are in charge of the car. You're driving it, and what you do is what's going to impact your life for the rest of your life. All your actions, you need to be very meticulous, and that's why you cannot let energy vampires sabotage your path. So that all comes together, basically. Your daily habits, what you do on a day-to-day basis, is what is going to propel you towards your goals, and you need to be disciplined around them because you're not going to feel like it every day. You need to be careful with energy vampires because the things they can say to you as well, only that can self-sabotage you, basically.
Judgment. I mean, judgment is crucial in our society.
Yeah, the fear, because a lot of people, they take actions to please others.
Exactly. Yeah.
They take actions because they are scared of the opinions of others and they want to feel accepted. I was a victim of that too. I think pretty much everyone is.
Yeah.
Like when you're, I always fuck up in secondary school because here in Quebec it's different from the United States, but I think in secondary school, you get in some friends circle because you want to be like seen as popular or seen as accepted. You might not have all the affinity, but fuck it, I'm just gonna hang out with them. Basically, it's the opinions of other people that feel super important. And I think we never actually do the work on ourselves to reframe that perspective. So a lot of people, they grow old with all that fear of others, so they don't do the actions because they are happy to do them. They care more about what others have to think about them.
It's a good point. It's funny because I think there's a lot more than we think that comes from the point of view of school. Like you talked about in the stressed episode, right?
Yeah, the talking in front of the class.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. We've stopped thinking about certain aspect of our life and just went with it. We always say glide through life.
Yeah.
And glide through life just equals to not thinking about what you actually want to do and think for real.
Yeah, like I said, like when you wake up, your energy is already attributed to
certain things. Well, habits, but not the right habits.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly why my point is super important, that I realized that I was taking, like, you need to take back your life in your hands, in your own hands.
Exactly.
You need to realize that you're not a child anymore. You're an adult. You need to be planned and organized if you want to achieve those goals. It can be anything. Like, it never comes by accident. So that's why you really need to think about what you want to achieve and to look about and to plan basically.
No, plan is the most important thing that you can do.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Journaling is a crack code to efficiency.
Yeah, and even like what I was talking about, like sometimes you have thoughts that come in your mind and just write them down. Yeah, that's exactly every day.
You have one. Yeah.
That's why I try. It might look a bit weird, but I'm always having my pocket journal, and it's the best thing. Sometimes I'm just walking and I'm like, oh shit, okay, I need to write that down, because often you forget.
Yeah, it's exactly what I meant with paper never lie, right?
Yeah.
It's super important to write things down because, well, it's kind of like studying some type of subject. For us, we speak a lot of what we learn, so we are actually learning because we are speaking to each other, right? But in some type of way, if you're actually in school, when you study, you write down stuff to remember it.
Yeah.
But ourselves, it's the same thing with journaling.
Yeah.
If you have shit to do, then you write it down, and because you write it down, well, it can never lie. So you need to remember actually what you need to do, right?
Exactly, and that's the point, that everyone is so distracted right now.
Yeah.
Like, you get thoughts on a day-to-day basis, but you just don't remember them.
Well, you forget them easily.
Yeah, it's super easy to forget something. You just have to take your phone for a second
and you forget it.
That's the perfect example. I'm sure it happened to you. Like, you take your phone out, you go on Instagram, for example, you close it, and then 0.5 second later, you just open it again. Like, instantly you're just distracted, it's gone. So that's why it's super important to write it down, because all the answers, you can actually obtain them by yourselves. For example, why do you think there was so much philosopher, I think that's the right word, in the Greek Empire? Like, for example, Marcus Aurelius, Plato, Socrates, all of them, Well, all they had to do, they had so much time to think. They were with their minds, and we never... Like, we don't see new versions of it. It's still accurate for today's society, so it's crazy to me. Like, 1,000 years ago or 100 years ago, they were thinking about that stuff, and now it still applies. It still can be applied to our day-to-day life. It's like these were geniuses, but they were just thinking. The fact of the matter is, you can have your answers answered by your own brain, your own consciousness.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we meant by actually thinking, right?
Yeah.
Because I can take this, but I thought about taking the mind blow in my hand to drink or whatever. But that's not actually thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
It's just doing an actions, a quick one. It's kind of like a short dopamine thing. Yeah. You don't need to think to do those things. That you just do them, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's super strange the way that we've stopped actually thinking for ourselves, and we let other people also create opinions for ourselves.
Yeah.
It becomes a bad habit, and you need to work on this thing.
Yeah, because I don't know if I think we went on another path, but you just came back to what I was saying about why it's important to not let energy vampires, like, we went into the judgment of others. But the fact is, sometimes they can criticize you, and like, they can tell, why are you doing that? It's not useful. Why the fuck would you do that? And sometimes you stop your own growth because you're scared of like the opinions of your friends, but in my opinion, if they have to tell you to not do something and not encourage you, are they really your friends?
Yeah.
Because
or
like
they're just scared to actually take those actions for themselves.
Exactly, because like I said, I want to see you grow. So if you're doing something right, then I'm proud of you, and I want to learn more as well. So explain to me what you learned, and I'm super happy to listen to you. If you have anything, I'm gonna be there to help. But I will never, unless you're going down the wrong path, but I would never say like, what the fuck are you doing that? You know?
No, definitely. It's a great point, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to judge someone that is currently working on himself towards growth.
I think
Simple as that.
Because that's what we realized. It's now it became part of it became part of ourselves. All we try to do is get better. Because when I look at myself from 2, 3, 4, 5 months back, I'm so proud of the person I am now.
We've worked on a lot in
a short amount of time.
Exactly.
And the knowledge that I acquired is just exponential. Like I've been stuck for a few years and then it's just skyrocketed. So that's why this episode is one of the most important, because you need to understand that your daily habits are what is gonna change your life. Like what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, you're actually writing your own story, right?
Because I can tell the success of someone by what he is doing on a day-to-day basis, basically.
Yeah.
Like you can see if someone is going down the right path just by looking at his daily habits, because they compound. They compound it's like a video game, for example. Like that's a good analogy that I found on my life personally, that I wanted to get better. Like I said, I was stressed and I didn't know why, because my goals were not clear enough. I didn't know what to start on. So what I thought about is, what's my weaknesses? Like for example, a video game character, his health, his strength, everything. I looked at my weaknesses, and instead of being like, what, I'm gonna focus on my strength because that's comfortable.
Yeah.
I went deep down into my weaknesses and I understood what I needed to do to get them up, to get better.
Yeah.
And that's a big factor. You need to see your life in a way in a video game. Instead of playing on the Xbox, GTA, for example, focus on real life. What can you upgrade on your attributes?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be all around a fantastic human beings. And if you become fantastic, then the people around you become fantastic. Now everyone's happy, everyone feels good, feels proud, and it just compounds.
Yeah.
All around. So yeah, your daily habits, they change basically the whole thing. So I think we can do like a quick summary of everything for the people.
Absolutely,
if you want, I can dive a bit.
Yeah.
So first, plan your way to success. That's the most important, like we just said right now. I know we're going all around it, but plan your way to success, have everything set up, and understand what your bigger perspective is, what do you want to achieve, and make them in small wins, because what you do on a day-to-day basis is going to dictate your success and if you actually achieve it or not.
Yeah.
Then focus on them, work on them every day. Like what you say you will do, you need to do it. You need to have a proper environment for success. Like you can't let the smallest distractions. I'm sorry, I don't want to go too far away, but I read that in a book. Okay, he was talking about when the phone is ringing, you have the option to not hear it at all. You have the option to not even look at it. It's you that where your attention goes, your energy flows.
Yeah.
So that's why I love that saying so much, because it can apply to so many things. But in terms of habits, where do you put your attention? And that's why the environment is important. You need to have a proper environment so you can put all your energy and all your focus into your daily habits, because if you do them, you're going to reach your success eventually. When you know you're doing the right thing, your stress and anxiety is basically going to go away. you're gonna have a different type of stress because you put it on yourself. You know what you expect the setbacks, so you know where you're going. It's gonna be hard, but I want that so
Yeah,
bad.
you live with exactly stress and uncomfortability in your life.
But
so
it's a different type because you put it on yourself.
Yeah,
you
well,
know
it's
what,
a habit.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good habit. So now don't chase cheap dopamine. Delayed gratification is way better because the actions that you take that are delayed gratifications are healthier, in my opinion, for you, for your person. Get a clean circle. Quality people, people that are going in the same direction as you. This is going to come naturally because the people that are not going in the same direction are naturally going to leave your path. You're going to find the right people for your growth. Don't let the judgment of others stop you at all. It needs to get motivation. You need to be motivated. If someone says you can't do something, then prove him wrong.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the way to see it. Instead of stopping and be like, oh shit, well, he said, why the fuck am I doing that? So I will stop. No, use it as motivation and prove him wrong.
Exactly.
Prove everyone wrong.
Actions.
And we've been living that way for our whole life, basically, because we've always had big ambitions. And there was always external factors of people trying to get their judgments in. One day you realize that it doesn't matter, and you just have to stay on your path, and the good people are going to come around you in your life. So expect the setbacks. It's normal. It means you're doing something good, and understand that it's only a part of your growth. The setbacks are where you learn your lessons. It's not failures. It's just part of a healthy trend.
I'm
basically.
100% with you. With everything that you just said, it's perfectly true.
I think that was a pretty good summary of this video, and
Absolutely, man.
and if just an advice for everyone, just look at that back a few times and write it down, and plan your way to success.
You're really right. You need to write it down and learn from it. I mean, the podcast is a podcast of
Educational.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Purpose, and in some type of way we are both learning from speaking about it, right?
Absolutely,
And we want everybody else that is watching to learn from it as well. And if there's any topics that you would like to write down in the comment sections,
Absolutely.
we would love to learn and just hear from you guys. And
because like I just want to add on, we're not saying we're perfect. We're just saying, we're all human beings. We're all learning on a day-to-day basis. And like we said, we're proud of what we're doing. We're proud of what we're achieving. That's why we want to showcase to you guys the growth, because even for you, you're going to see the journey. Our conversations are going to be different. Our knowledge is going to be way better. Now, I'm sure you can tell, but our English is
a little bit better.
It's better right now. It's a lot easier to do the podcast than it was before. So, we're not saying we're geniuses. We're just trying to get better and reach excellence in our fields.
Yeah.
And we can learn from anybody. So just feel free, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to learn more, actually. And I think that pretty much sums it up.
Sums up,
You finally have the odds in your favor, like I said before.
Definitely.
All right.
Exactly.